When I talk about certain topics, cameras will cease to function. My audio will go out. I'll start having technical problems. And this is part of that evidence thing, I think. I think there are some things that I'm not really supposed to get into, some things that are supposed to remain a mystery or a secret. I think when I start to do it, they interfere, they turn off the camera, they affect my recording. All right, so in this episode, I'm going to answer some viewer questions about ghosts and spirits. All of my answers are not set in stone, but they're based on my experience, my personal experience, my understanding of these things. So that's where I'm coming from with my answers. So what is a ghost? A ghost is a spirit who is basically a soul, who is the essential us, but a ghost is earthbound. What else is out there besides ghosts? Well, I kind of lump everything into the spirit category just because I'm talking about entities and beings that are not physical, or they aren't always physical. I believe they're trans-dimensional also. So things like angels and demons and fairies and elementals and ETs are all out there, along with regular human spirits. There are so many things out there that I kind of see it like Star Wars. Like you're watching Star Wars and you see a new alien race come in and you're like, oh, cool. And you don't really judge it or don't really see it as anything special or unique. It's just this new alien race came in. That's kind of what it's like on the other side. There are so many different kinds of beings and so many different kinds of entities that I'm surprised when I see something new, but it doesn't startle me or shock me because there's all sorts of things out there. I once encountered something that was like a giant refrigerator in some astral realm. It almost ate me, really. So yeah, you have to be careful of what you want or what you're putting out there when you're in a very deep state or you go astral or go out of body. Oh, and I left out like God and religious figures and different cultures have their beings there and different goddesses and gods and deities and all sorts of folks are over there. So yeah, my Star Wars example is very right for me. What are the differences between ghosts and the souls who go all the way to heaven? I think ghosts are just earthbound spirits or souls. There are different belief systems where they separate the idea of a spirit and a soul. I pretty much see them as the same thing. To me, it's the same thing. I don't differentiate. I might be wrong, but I don't really see a difference. So I think our essence is our soul or our spirit. And I usually go with the word spirit. Okay, so I think it's set up like this. I think that we are a spirit and we're always a spirit. We're an eternal spirit. We exist forever or for a long time. I don't know. But we're a spirit and we incarnate here. We go and we inhabit a person, a little baby, and we grow up and we have our life and we have our experiences and we grow up and we develop and we learn stuff and we have experiences here on earth. And that's so our soul or our spirit can become varied and we can become better and we can level up. And then we die and our spirit leaves the body and we are met with guides or family members or angels, and they're there to take us up to heaven. And I've heard my guides and I've heard the other side talk about it as going up. And so that's how I talk about it. And a portal opens when the spirit is ready, and that's that white light, go into the white light. And I've looked and I've seen into that tunnel, and it's an indescribable bliss and love pouring from that. And this is just watching a soul crossover, watching a spirit crossover into the light. in this tunnel or in this hallway, it was like generations of this person's family waiting there for them to come in. And I lost it. I was crying. I couldn't control myself for hours. I was totally blissed out with the greatest love I've ever felt. And so I get it when people have near-death experiences and they don't want to come back, because I just looked in and was blown away with the love coming from there. So heaven, yeah, that's a real place. It may be called different things for different people or different cultures, but yeah, heaven's a real place. So spirits, when they die, they can go there. And I expect that everybody who is in their right mind and capable of understanding what happens will see that light, or see the angels and see their guides or their family members, and they'll follow them and they'll go into the light. And going into the light, that's going to heaven. And then there are souls and spirits who've had a pretty traumatic life here, or the end of their life was so traumatic that they're put in some sort of a funk. And that's usually mental issues, emotional issues. They might not realize they're dead. Those are all the things that can happen. And so that person might decide that they aren't going to go into the light, and they'll stay here as a ghost on earth. They'll stay here and they'll hang out sometimes in the area where they died. And this might be somebody who is so emotionally distraught, emotionally and mentally beat down, that they don't realize that there's anything more. They're just wallowing in whatever they've got going on. So that's a ghost staying in one spot. There are other ghosts that don't want to go into the light, and that might be because they want to stay earthbound for a while and they want to watch their grandchildren grow up, or they want to just be here long enough to go to their funeral. I don't really consider those to be ghosts. If you're just hanging out for a week or two and then you're going to go up, that's just a regular spirit to me. Ghosts also might stay here because they're afraid of what's next, afraid of going to the next place. Or they might be noticing that there are other spirits around or other ghosts. And so they look to them for answers. And it might be just a bunch of folks just hanging out here to, hang out on earth and do things that they weren't able to do while they were alive. And sometimes ghosts are kind of held here by other entities. They're held here by other beings. It might work out kind of like the attachment situation with us. Like we might get an attachment or have a spirit or an entity that connects with us. Same thing can happen in the spirit world. That's something I've noticed. I don't think that's the rule. I think that's the exception, though. So what happens to spirits that go to heaven versus spirits that stay here? The spirits go to heaven, they go up and they have work to do, they have things to do. It usually takes a little while before they are transitioned into heaven lifestyle. I don't know what it is. And so they might not be available to come and visit for a while. But then once they transition, they're able to come and visit, and they can come and connect with us on earth. So it's not like you have to choose whether or not you're gonna watch your grandchildren grow up and hang out and check out stuff on earth, or you're gonna go to heaven and be completely disconnected. It doesn't work the same way. With ghosts, I think ghosts get the bad end of the deal because they're kind of stuck in this paradigm and they don't actually get to see the rest of it. Once you go to heaven, you have access to all of this. When you're here, you only have access to this. Okay, so how long does the transition take for a spirit that's gone to heaven? I don't know, 3 months, 1 month, 6 months. I think it also depends on people here on earth, because we need to be able to get through our grief here and be able to still live and function on earth when somebody dies. It sucks to say that because it's difficult. But part of us being here is so we can live and have the experiences and level up and stuff. And we can't do that if we're kind of stuck. And then if we're continually like connecting with the other side and we can't let go, then we can't really move on here. Does every ghost get a chance to go to heaven? Does every spirit have a chance to go to heaven? I think so. I think everybody has a chance. I think if you are that emotionally distraught person or somebody with a lot of anger or something like that, I think when you get to heaven, I think there are systems in place that will help you get through whatever situation or whatever is going on with you. So you've got counseling and you've got help once you get to heaven for that kind of stuff. What if you don't believe in God? What if you don't believe in heaven? I think you're still accepted. I think it's okay. You're going to get help. You're going to get assistance when you go. What if you are a mass murderer? What if you're a bad person? Can you go to heaven? I think you can. I think you're going to need a lot of counseling when you get there. It might be a shock for you when you go over because you do have to deal with the things you've done. But that's okay. They might be playing a role for a whole bunch of other people to have to level up and grow and all that stuff. I don't think you're penalized. I don't think you're going to have everything done to you that you did to somebody else. But I think you have to work through it. And I mean, it's part of leveling up. I think it's part of being a full person. So yeah, I think they're accepted too. What about suicides? Dude, you're just in grief and you didn't think you had another way out or you didn't have a way out. Of course they're going to accept you into heaven. You're gonna get that counseling, you're gonna get that help, and they might be like, yeah, you didn't take care of A, B, and C that you wanted to when you were incarnated, and so, you don't get the full points for your life or something, but yeah, you're accepted. I haven't run into anybody that's not accepted into heaven if they wanna go. Most of the ghosts I meet just are unaware that they can go to heaven. They either don't believe it or they're afraid of it because they weren't religious enough or they didn't do the right things or they didn't read the right book or they didn't donate enough money or whatever. They're still accepted. I think everybody gets to go up, and it's whether or not you need a bunch of counseling or not. You need to move through whatever it is. Are people or places haunted? Places are haunted. We have haunted places. But the more I experience, the more I think that people are haunted. I think we have spirits that will follow us around or be drawn to us. Like when I turn on psychically, I draw the attention of spirits from far and wide. And again, when I say spirits, I mean beings that aren't physical beings. So they might be fairies. They might be different kinds of elementals. Demons show up a lot. The brighter the light, the bigger the moth, So, yeah, I think people are more haunted than places. Why don't ghosts or spirits or other entities show up on video? I get a lot of EVPs. And a lot of things they're talking about are whether or not they have permission for me to get evidence. I've actually gotten an EVP with somebody saying no physical evidence. I don't know if that was an angel or a guide or a spirit, but my experience leads me to believe that we aren't supposed to be getting evidence because that kind of pulls us out of the reality of being an earthling. It pulls us out of our experience here. If we're super aware that there are folks all around us all the time, it might lessen the experience for some people. I think I've got special permission to get evidence, to get EVPs. Video, I don't know if I've got permission for that because I don't catch much on video. And spirits are always talking about cameras, like don't be on the camera. And they've talked about erasing stuff. I actually get a series of photographs of a UFO while riding with a friend. I was taking pictures of my buddy, and there's this UFO, and you can spot it, this disc, in like 8 different photos. I saw it, and so I went through and I was looking at each one and zooming in, and yeah, there's a craft in each photo. And I went back and I looked at it like in the same session, I went back and I looked, and all of those pictures, there was just blue sky. The UFO was gone. I think that the spirit world and a lot of trans-dimensional stuff works that way. They can manipulate our video, they can manipulate our audio, and they can control whether or not we're getting evidence. And this is like after the fact. I've had EVPs change into something else. So there is control over evidence that we get with the spirit world. Now I say UFOs because, again, ETs are trans-dimensional, I think. I've seen physical beings, I think it was an ET, and I've seen things psychically and had enough validation with the psychic ones that I know that that's a real thing. So evidence, yeah, I think they're controlling evidence. I think we have to have permission to get it. I think that's why it's so elusive. So there you have it. Treat spirits, treat ghosts with respect. They're human beings. It wasn't it. It didn't come out and do whatever. It's he or she or they. We need to be respectful. These are real people. They have real emotions. They have real feelings. It's not a, can you do it again? I know I've done that before, but we aren't trying to get somebody to perform parlor tricks for us. They're real people and they have real needs and they have real desires and real emotions and all this stuff. So treat them as you would a living person, or better, because some of these people, if they are ghosts and are having emotional or mental kinds of issues, man, they need love. They need support. They need help. And so just be nice. And the way you can help them is you can ask your guides to help. You can ask your guides to step in and help them. And you can just be honest with them. I think most spirits, like most of the spirit rescue stuff I do, is because I'm just a normal dude. I don't come off as some sort of, I don't know what I come off as. A lot of spirits that won't come up to somebody else will come up to me. Another thing is I'm not afraid. There's a whole lot going on around us that we're unaware of. And if you've made it this far, you're okay. They haven't impeded you. They haven't messed you up. They haven't come after you. And if they have, you're still around, so you're okay. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of the other side, but definitely treat it with respect. There are some of the bad guys over there, and they can really interfere, and they can cause you problems and distress. So you don't want to do anything where you're picking fights with anybody either. But yeah, don't be afraid. They're just people over there, whether they're little people, they're ETs, or they're spirits or ghosts. Okay, before I completely wrap up, I want to explain something else with evidence. We had a lot of problems with getting the camera to cooperate during this episode. When I talk about certain topics, cameras will cease to function. My audio will go out. I'll start having technical problems. And this is part of that evidence thing, I think. I think there are some things that I'm not really supposed to get into. Some things that are supposed to remain a mystery or a secret. I think when I start to do it, they interfere, they turn off the camera, they affect my recording and stuff. And so we'll have to see what things we actually did get on camera and did get in recording. It's weird. It's a weird world. It's wonderful though. I mean, living in this kind of world with all of this stuff going on around us is really magical. This is really special. So embrace it. If you've gotten anything out of this, please subscribe. That really helps me. Share with others and comment. I'd love to know any questions you have for future episodes. Anything you want me to talk about, anything you want me to focus on. Because I'm here. I'm ready to do it. I love this stuff. Okay, thanks for watching.